Good morning. Um, Not too sure if there are people around, but Edward Harada, thank you very much. Saw you rejoined there. All right, I'm just gonna hang out here and wait for people to trickle in because last time that's kind of what happened. All right, so um, what we're gonna do is check out some footage from yesterday. So I have not. Yo, big oof. That's exactly what we're going to be looking at today. So, the plan is to show you guys the footage. This is the first part, right? First part of the video. And then the second part is going to be done today. So, after the stream, um, what I'm going to do is clean the gear from yesterday, clean the fish, and do a catch and cook. Because it was requested last time, right? Before the trip, someone actually said like catch and cook. So I was like, I haven't done one of those. So um, what time is it in my place? It is 7:17 a.m. We went after tuna, and it was weird because what do you call this? Last minute change was that I was asked to take bigger tackle. So I was like, what? Like, wow. So what I had to do was actually take one of the 14,000 Stellas. Not 14, it's actually 16 because it has a Studio Ocean Mark spool. And then brought with me some bigger gear. But I said, like, you know what? I'm just going to take at least a small one. So I had the L75 rigged poppers, like big ones, something like these. Um, Took a few stick baits, stuff like that. But in my experience, it doesn't really happen the way that does, right? So, um, what what I done was to at least take one gear or one combo that I knew was going to be applicable. I mean, up to about 50 kg. So I brought 6,000 Stella with the rod that it's comboed with. That's kind of like my mainstay. And then when we got out, water was so fucking rough, and then we weren't able to go far. So we just went on to this. We went on this place. We frequent the place, um, 40 miles out. You know, and then we saw dolphins and shit. Well, actually, we went to a buoy first, and then that's where I caught the first fish, and it's a Dorado. And I was I was dumb, man. Shit. So basically, um, I haven't even set my tackle up at this point, right? And you'll see my mistake later on. So basically, what happened was that as soon as we got there, I was like, all right, I'm gonna tie up a stick bait, a floating stick baits. No, totally open here, dude. Like the only rigs that you would find is towards the Iran side. And by the time you see those rigs, you would have been kidnapped by the Iranians already. Uh, so it's all open water. and it's all just bottom structure, you know. Um, and this isn't the East Coast. Now, the East Coast, if you look at the map, the island just at the tip of the UAE, which you think would be part of the UAE, but it's not. It's actually part of Iran. It's the isthmus, and that's basically Oman, northern Oman. So, you know, that and that little compression there is called the Strait of Hormuz, and in the Strait of Hormuz, that's yeah, that's like facing Iran already. It's like that. It's like a small strait. A lot of GT fishing there, but that's connected to the uh, the Gulf of Oman, and then inside is obviously the famous Persian Gulf. Or if you're standing on this side, they call it Arabian Gulf because, you know, kind of don't like calling it that other name. So the Gulf, let's say. So the Gulf is there. That's where the Gulf War happened, right? And then there's a different set of fish. So here, out in the what the fuck am I doing, man? This is idiotic because we have technology. So all I have to do is actually go to Google Maps and show you guys, right? But I'm so fucking smart that I didn't do that. Instead, I do hand gestures like a freaking mime. So, kind of dumb. All right, so let's go share screen. Google Maps. Share. So, all right, so this is the Gulf. Okay, so you have the Gulf of Oman, and then you have the Arabian Gulf. So, see, even Google kind of doesn't like Iran because it says like Arabian Gulf instead of like the other name. So, but I'm pretty sure that if you're actually, you know, somewhere here on the other side. So this is the famous Strait of Hormuz right here. This place right here, and there's excellent GT fishing around here. Fish there. Actually, you know what, boys? We're probably gonna go there. Um, and around this place here, there's a lot of fishing spots. So definitely something that we're gonna be doing. Here is where we go fishing around here for GT, and we have a boat there too that we could hear. It's just that it's also kind of expensive. It's like um, how much is it? Uh, so about $1,000 a day, like $800 to $1,000 a day. At least that was the cost when I went there, and it's a rudimentary boat, so spend that much for that guy, but it's relatively worth it. It's a low cost GT trip because these GT trips are actually like an arm and a leg. So where we were yesterday, okay, so from this is where we live here with the heart, okay. I drove down and then we went over here. So that's the marina right there. Okay. So from there, oh, here's the marina. Gosh, don't even like from here. We traveled all the way out here. See these ledges here, and we went past. We actually went somewhere here. Okay, so we were in the Gulf of Oman, somewhere here, and this is deep. All right, are you guys seeing what? It's black. Are you serious? Hold on. Why? It's Google Maps, dude. What the hell? I could there. All right. So, holy crap. I don't know. Okay, let me go back. Let me go back from what do you call this? So, this is where we fish, right? So, this is, as you can see here, the Arabian Gulf. There's another name which is more popular outside of what do you call this? But I think Google Map changes it. Gulf of Oman. We set out from here, Fujairah International Marine Club. Okay, and then Uh, this is called the ledge. We call this the ledge. So we fished around here, this area. Okay. Um, so that's 60, 60 nautical miles or something around here. This side is basically where you see the Iranian oil platforms. Okay. We we go to a point where we see them. And then there's a lot of oil platforms here. This is obviously the Strait of Hormuz, and then all around here will be like the oil field in this area. And there's a lot of GT here, and hopefully we'd be able to go there since we have our visa renewed and all our freaking papers and all that makes it easier. All right, so from here, which is the house, oops, um, we what do you call this? We travel, and then from we travel from there to here, and then takes about an hour and a half. Okay, before Dubai, it takes about 2 hours. So from somewhere here, there. All right. Yeah. I mean, typically platforms would have. So here they hold a lot of Iranians, and they have guns. Here also, because of the situation, you can't approach the what do you call this? The you can't approach the platforms. You know. Um, hold on, let me stop. And that. Oi, that's dumb. All right, there we go. So typically, what happens here is that you can't approach the rigs unless they see that you have like a, a royal registration. So basically, only the royal boats. Okay, so if you want to fish the what do you call this? If you want to fish the platforms, you better have permission from the royals, and you should have uh, had your boat registered. But those, if you have your boat registered, or if you have a royal on board, right? So they have special permission and all that. They'll call ahead, and that's only a one-time pass. And then, because the royals own these rigs, right? And there's specific rigs owned by specific royals. And that's what I found out at least. And then if you go with a group that regularly goes there because they have special permission and stuff, yes, you need a shake friend, which we have. It's just that we don't do that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't like I don't like taking advantage. Like even here in Kuwain, right? I mean, I helped out the head of the tourism department uh, with a fishing tournament before, and literally kind of did everything for them almost because they didn't know. Really didn't know. They didn't know how and all that. I mean, up to a point where I was actually hosting, right? So um, they owe us. And now that I'm here, I could easily just say like, "Hey, dude, I want to fish the mangroves, da 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 da," but I don't do that. Or I could like go into restricted zones like the fish area, fish port. Which you know what, I'm gonna have to talk to him honestly because it's just freaking there. I'm just gonna get special permission and then fish inside. Because guess what? There's actually good fishing inside, especially for big eye scad, and we like big eye scad. So aji in Japanese, and I love ajing. So ultralight fishing and stuff, especially at night. And I used to get like coolers full of fish, like me and my friend Rodney, because he lived close by. Like actually, part of the reason why I moved here was because I liked because he lived here for a long time. He was my salesman for the Rapala, I was managing the whole region, and he was my salesman. And man, we were such a good team, you know. And then he had to go to this. He had to leave for the states. But by the time he left, I already left the company. And what do you call this? He was based here, and place got kind of shuttered down, like literally closed down for fishing, and that sucked. Anyway, part of the reason why I live here is I live here now is because of the close proximity to fishing, and it's kind of easier. You know, it's just easier for me to actually go out and and we'll see. Anyway, so yesterday the hunt was for tuna. We did find the tuna, but they weren't the big ones that we expected. Still pretty decent, as you guys would probably see. So uh, we had Dorado. But here's the funny thing: even the Dorado, were very difficult. And I don't know if it was on video, but there's actually a time when you see a lot of them, right? A lot, and typically you just toss something in the water and then just go boom. But it was such a struggle to actually catch one, and the lure that would have probably caught them would be something like this, right? And as you could have seen, I just reached out because it was left here, and it's very useful while it's here because it can look good, but doesn't really catch fish. Hey, what's up, John? Wow, Colorado, man. This time is really it then. Because John, are you subscribed? Because this is actually the first time I'm seeing you here. Um, So I mean I even wanted to go really early, but I was so knackered, guys. I was so tired because it's still hot, and as you can see, I have like a good tan and everything. First time live, yeah, first time I've seen you actually, and I don't know, I haven't seen you comment, or I don't remember seeing you commenting on something. So you know, so yeah, um, we're gonna we're gonna watch a few videos. It's going to be the first bit. What I'm gonna do, okay? Since the plan of this thing is actually just to screen it, because believe it or not, guys, I actually have not watched. I just took everything that's related to the trip on what do you call this? Off of my GoPro, but I haven't really watch them. All right. So basically, we're gonna go through them. You're gonna see some footage, but they won't make sense. Okay. So basically, I just wanna, because I promised that we're gonna screen stuff, right? So we're gonna do that. Pretty sure you guys have questions when you see these things later. And then what's gonna happen is this is going to be the first bit of the video, because the second bit of this would be me cleaning the fish and actually making something out of the fish, which I have decided already on what to do. Something easy, something fun, and very good to eat. I think you guys will enjoy it. So, uh, man, I'm gonna get myself bloody after this stream, but I have white on, so I'm gonna change the shirt. But yeah, um, that's something that we're gonna do. Righty. So this video will be like a catch and cook. Only it's not gonna happen like in a one day, because I arrived here like pretty late last night. I think I got here about 11:30, something like that. There's supposed to be another trip um, on Friday. Okay, and it's trolling and stuff. We're gonna troll, and then we're gonna go after tuna in the afternoon. So um yeah, and if my plan was actually followed, instead of these like guys got getting overexcited about big tuna, because there were big tuna just a few days ago, in the same area. Well, no, not the same area. Well, yeah, same area but farther. There was big tuna, and they got excited and everything, but water was rough, so we weren't able to go to that area. Uh, so what we got instead were like weird fish, and like I mentioned, like with the Dorado, normally, especially when they're offshore here, uh, they're very easy to catch. Like literally, very easy to catch. They're like we call them the queen fish of the East Coast because they're like rats. You cast something and then they'll eat. The problem yesterday was that the fish. Now remember, this is the first, like what the limit of 12 nautical miles for everyone, okay, was actually taken off like only a few days ago. So in the very first few guys that actually went out hammered these fish, like really hammered them proper, and it's nonstop. So basically, what you have is like an area where there's going to be a lot of fishermen from Oman and the UAE, plus the guys. We're fishing international waters, by the way, guys, and then a lot of the guys from Iran as well, right? They'll be fishing the same area. They'll be throwing a lot of live bait. Um, Plus, I don't know which government, but someone actually installed a buoy there. Okay, so when you install a buoy, basically it will have like a lot of crap there, right? So some guys actually, you could see down, in the buoy line. There's actually nets folded. I don't know which idiot did that as well. So you know you could see netting, right? So that kind of form structure, and how they did it was the buoy is here. Okay, buoy is here. The line goes like that, right? And you can see the netting here, and the net is folded on the chain. And then they have like another set of buoys out far, but they kind of just look like ordinary floats or whatever. And then that's the buoy that kind of holds the line. So basically, whatever current there is, it's just gonna float around, and you can tie up in this buoy. I guess some idiots do that, but we didn't. The current was actually kind of significant. Hey, Gonzalez, dude, you're like your name, right? Gonzalez is like a last name in the Philippines, and then your last name is also a last name. So Gonzalez Fishing Mendez, last name, last name. Like my last name is a name and a last name as well, Belen, right? Anyway, so that was that, and then the fish were weird. Also, there was a lot of bait fish scattered. Okay, a lot. When I say a lot, it's like not a bait ball, but um, even when you're running around and everything, you'll see bait fish jumping. Like literally, it's like the whole ocean is filled with bait fish. So something special happens when that occurs, and that typically occurs regularly, or not fairly regularly, but not too regularly. Um, the fish get weird. Okay, so that's basically what we had yesterday. Uh, and I've actually covered this in some videos in the past. Um, like fishing the weird tuna in Fujairah, and you need specific gear for that. And guess what? I didn't have one of the specific gear, which typically is a PE3, PE 2.5 setup, um, and that's literally rigged for like max 200, or no, max 150 actually. Uh, yeah, max 150, and you're dropping about 60 to 70 meters down. And Faisal had that combo on board for him. And you know, I was gonna take the blue safari, like as discussed in the stream. I was gonna, showed the blue safari and said like, okay, I'm gonna take this, but I had to leave it. So when we were there, Faisal was so guilty. He said like, listen, man, use mine. And he knows that my preference and his is like pretty close. Okay. The only difference is that it's like the expensive version of mine, my preference, right? So yesterday he goes like, dude, it's the same. You know that if you can choose anything, it'd be like this. And I go like, yeah, it's the expensive version of my what do you call this? Of my preference. And then he goes, yeah, so just use it, just switch the handles and all that. And then I go like, nah, I'm gonna catch them with what I have. I have at least one, I told them. And so after that, what happened was that, I switched out the lure to my silver bullet, which you guys will see, and I'm pretty sure I'll have questions. uh I'm not too sure if this is still in circulation, but you guys can actually check. uh um Let me see here. Yeah, I think it's still available. Oh no, it's not. What the hell? Really? Oh, that's sad. Oh, that is sad. It's not available anymore. Ooh, time to call my okay. Time to call some people. Cause guess what? I want this lure. And if they can't make it, I will make it for myself. That's sad. It's a lure from Storm. It's a what do you call this? It's a lure from Storm. And very effective. I might add. Like literally my silver bullet. So there's the few that I have here, they're scattered all around, and I'm pretty sure Faisal has like a bit of them. But when the tuna, like literally, you'll hear Faisal saying like, "This is like a cheat." All right, so I'm gonna show you guys. Uh, Hold on. How do I do this? All right. So I'm gonna share screen. Okay. Huh? Why is it window? Ah, there we go. Okay. So this is the boat. All right. Um. So this is a pretty big boat. It's about 45 feet. And how many people were there yesterday? So that was two captains, and then Mayad and his friend, and then three Faisal, and then so there's eight people. All right, eight people on the boat, and the two captains obviously were assisting. Um, Three people were fishing. It was me, Kareem, and Faisal. The rest were all like muscle dudes, and all they wanted was a 10. So they were just there for the ride. So the boat was actually pretty. What do you call this? It was pretty uh, open, right? All right. So we have, as you can see there, that's three 350s, or is it three 400s? No, sorry, it's three 400 HP motors. Um, are you guys seeing this? Right. Can you guys confirm that you're actually seeing what I'm showing? Because last time when I actually showed the screen, it was black. Can anyone say something? Hello? Yeah. So that's good. Thanks, John. So basically, yeah. So it runs really fast. Okay. So the problem is it's rough. It's really rough. And you know, not easy. So there's our two captains. Faisal is driving. Okay, and if you can see, it's like Stellas all around. But typically, this is we just gassed up, and then we're heading out, and the water isn't as rough here yet because we're inshore. Okay, so but you can see that we're already like getting some waves and stuff. So basically, for the first 2 hours of the trip, we were battered. We were really battered. Um, I don't know if this actually shows it, but no, not still not really showing it. But this is still on the way, and uh, still going. What do you call this? Normal, our normal speeds, but towards the middle of what do you call this boat ride, which I don't know if I have footage. It was like kind of terrible. We were really battered. uh it was a rough ride, a very rough ride. And okay, let me see. This is not in order, so okay. So it's a long ride. It's a typically we get this pretty short, because when we move, it's just like with four engines. It's really fast and everything. So um, most of the stuff is already rigged, and for Faisal at least, he has two guys to rig for him and all that. Once we get to the spot, I guess when we start casting, you'll see like how rough it is. So I'm gonna have to look for footage for that stuff. So yeah, wind is typical. You'll see like a lot of boats dotting the place and stuff. Um, so there, you can see the swells there, like you know, and the tuna are blowing up like everywhere. Instead of actually being concentrated in one place, they're like that setup right there. It's light. It's max 150 with a either a spinning reel or an overhead. Typically, something that you would use in the Arabian Gulf or in shallower water. But what do you call this? It's not what do you call this? It's not something that you should be using in a place like this. But when they're, as you can see there, the gear is all like big. But you know, with these tuna being skittish and all that, it's very difficult to actually um, get a strike. Okay, so these are the typical poppers that we use. Um, and we're actually see here, we're actually casting near the buoys, and where we're casting is there's like a huge school of dorado, huge school. And that don't that boat just arrived, right? And we were fishing this area for about half an hour already. And John, no, here it's all like deep water, and in some places like 2,000 meters uh, or more. Okay, so typically you look for the birds, and it's a buoy. It's not a fad. So it's a marker buoy. I don't know which government actually put that, because we're in international waters. But I think my hunch is that this is actually one of those buoys where they have mercenaries that protect the what do you call this? That protect the vessels. So they have mercenaries that go on these boats. You can see it's rough. It wasn't just a boat there. It's actually quite rough. So the boat is moving all around. But typically what happens is, um, when what is like controls here so I can see. There we go. So typically what happens is, these mercenaries, they're not allowed in the country, right? They're not allowed in the country. So what they do is, they have these boats. They have these boats parked out in international waters, and then the big boats where the mercenaries actually guard, uh, they have small boats that shuttle from the big boats to what we call the gunboat. So they shuttle the mercenaries, right? Uh, and then these boats actually move around, so they don't stay in one place. Obviously, right? I mean, they're there to protect the boats, and along the way, they actually make enemies out of the pirates. So they move around, and this is probably one of those places where they anchor. So that's my hunch, but this is like not the cycle where it's sitting. Now, typically, if you have a gunboat sitting there, there'd be a lot of fish, and the fish wouldn't be weird, because uh, they uh, they get shelter under the boat. And then also remember, since these people have guns and stuff, not everyone, like the Iranians, can't go close, right? So um, only Omanis and typically UAE fishermen, not even the Omanis. So uh, it becomes kind of like a bait fish magnet, and the bait fish actually gather around near the hull of the boat. So very easy spot, so it easily could be one of the spots. And some boats hold more bait than others, and then you'll find like there's going to be like a reliable fishery for tuna there, typically yellowfin. But now, the gunboats are not around, or one of the I don't know where they are. They move around, like I said. So what happens is that you only have a buoy, and then people fish it, and then, like, there's literally nets that you can see stuck on the chains. So that kind of makes a ecosystem of its own. All right, now there should be footage here of me catching a dorado, which uh, I'm not kind of see the here. I think this is the first footage. The dumb thing that I didn't do is, I'll actually tell you guys. Uh, all right, so this is a 30-gram stick bait. You can see there the two buoys I was talking about. All right, so see here in the foreground right now. Okay, so this buoy right here, on the right there. So those are like basically okay. So if you look to the very right, you'll see the yellow buoy, and then you'll those two canister looking things. So basically what happens is that there's a chain from that buoy going towards the chain of the buoy, and that kind of makes it go at an angle, instead of fully straight up and down or diagonal. And typically that's where people anchor. So they don't anchor on the buoy, they anchor on these things. So you have two things, right? You have two things that actually attract the fish. Excuse me. So that's that. Now, this I actually caught fish before this, because I was like super excited, and then I was just gonna fool around, because in instances like this, the very first thing I throw isn't a stick bait, it's a popper. But I I got excited, and when I opened the box, guess what I saw first? It was the stick bait. So put it on, and then started casting, and I actually nailed uh, small dorado. So when I caught that dorado, we drifted far, and then one of the captains actually said, let's go position the boat. So you'll actually, I think when he slows down, he goes like, go cast, go cast. So nothing in the first cast, and then on the second cast, I pulled a huge school towards the boat, and they were literally schooling with the boat. Um, I hope you guys can see this. So they were schooling with the boat, but they weren't biting. And when Dorado don't bite, that's a problem because they're like rats, you know. And they almost eat anything really, you know. Especially if you see now, there's hardly like what except for that one boat earlier, right? There's none. But then that's when we found out that the bait fish were actually scattered all over, you know, and that makes it very, very difficult. So working the lure here, nothing. But that's when I saw that there were like a lot of dorado around the boat, but they're not biting. So you know, at this point, there's still no tuna, and you know, dorado are fun fish. Yes, usually the first one we catch gets like to hook up the water. And yeah, that's what I did with the first one. But guess what? Even with one hooked and it was in the water and all that, um, someone dropped a jig. They didn't they didn't even bite the jig. Um, so basically, we tried quite a few times for them because at this point we were fishless, and we've just literally traveled about 2 hours. Uh, so everyone wanted at least to have another fish on board, and nothing, right? So dorado is typically our windfall fish. So you know, because there's just a lot of them, and people don't. It's kind of crazy, but people don't like eating them here. There's a lot more fish to catch that are far tastier, like tuna, you know, um, snapper and stuff like that. There's a lot of deep water fish that are way better to eat than dorado, I guess, for them, you know, which is good for us because for those guys that want to take the fish home, this is typically kind of like a grocery run. So we go, we catch a few dorado before we head home, but that's it. It's kind of like our windfall fish. But what happens if they don't bite? You know, typically at around this time we would be like having fun, you know, catching them. Um, but none. Like especially for me, I haven't been with these guys for some time because of the heart issue, the doctor not clearing me, and then visa and all that crap. So, you know, uh, like a fish like that is just nice to what do you call this? Have. Here I actually show. I think in this video here, I actually show how to work the stick bait. You know, just some tips to make them swim good because they're not the easiest lure to use. And also, I actually spoke about how the XG helps you. That's why I call it, yeah. Uh, but here's the thing, okay? And this is what I've learned. Like I think KD actually mentioned this, and Gary also mentioned this. You know, um, if you're carrying a brand and you're labeled like a professional or something, that's not an excuse. You're really gonna have to find a way to crack open. And you know, I have that habit. Um, and yeah, so literally I cracked this day, even if it was like difficult. I caught the most fish. I caught the biggest. It's not. It's um it's not luck. I would say. Like even the captain here, Shamila, the guy wearing light blue, and I think if we can find the footage, you guys will see that when I'm casting, it's not random, and there's actually a time when this is what Shamila was. How much footage do we have here? Hold on, let me see how long this is. All right, so just to give me an idea of how long this video is gonna run. So here I'm just casting and I'm explaining stuff. You can see I'm casting near the birds as well because there's birds there. Remember, this is only 30 grams. Okay, typically if you cast something bigger and in this kind of situations, you're not gonna get bit. Um, Shamila, we've been fishing with him for a really long time, and so he's quite familiar with me and how I fish. So in this particular trip, uh, he saw that um, I was having the most strikes, right, and I had the most fish, and that's him right there, Shamila. So basically, uh, I think this was after the after my second tuna when I actually said that that's it. I'm not gonna fish anymore. So we were sitting down, and then he goes, "Sir, I noticed when we stopped, your first cast was far." And then I go, "Okay." And then he goes, "But your second cast was not. It was just right in front of the boat." And I go, "Oh, you noticed that?" He goes, "Yeah, but right in front of the boat." And then the fish struck. And you guys will see this. The strike was actually like, visible, very visible. And then he goes, "I don't think I don't think that was an accident, sir." And then I just laughed at him. I was like, "No, Shavila, I'm just lucky. Until today, I'm quite lucky today." And then he goes, "Sir, if you were lucky, then I would have probably seen you being lucky for more than 5 years fishing with me." Because he goes like, because that is it 5 years? No, actually, it's longer. It's about 7, close to 10. So I've been fishing around this guy for close to 10 years. Either as a captain for him as our captain, because he used to work for a charter company, another charter company. So but here he's one of two captains on the boat. In fact, our main captain is actually his nephew. Uh, but he's very familiar with me, how I fish and all that, and especially when I was working with Rapala and stuff. And he said like, "Sir, I think you're not telling me something." And I just laughed and I told him like, "Chamila, it's it's not random, you know." And then he goes, "Yeah, I think because I see people, even people fishing with the same lures, but you just know how." I just laughed and I go like, "Nah, it's luck." And then he laughed, and then but then I spilled the beans. I told them that yeah, it's not random. And like even with Faisal, when he was using the lure I was using, because he asked me like, he was desperate for fish, but and then he asked me like, "Hey, do you still have one of those?" I was like, "Yeah, I've been saving one for you for a long time." Literally opened the box and here, and he was like, "Oh." So um it's not random. So you have to know where to cast, right? So what happened? Well, when we find that footage, I'll explain more. But okay, so we have that. Then, hold on, let me find that footage. No. Okay, so what is this? No, that's not. So this is the L75. I'm just casting. All right. So what is this? Is it Faisal? Okay, so Faisal is hooked up there. Let's do that. So here's one of mine as well. This is an OSHA plugger with a sinking stick bait. So Faisal is hooked up here, and he's hooked up with a tuna. And this is the first tuna of the boat. And he dropped this on the side. As you can see, it's not calm. The boat is all over the place. I don't know if these guys actually had motion sickness, to tell you honestly. So it's gonna take a while because it's thin line, right? So a very good points when I'm coaching. Actually, you know, um, look at how Faisal actually look at the rod. Okay, the rod is constantly bent, and if you see, this is I'm actually using this footage for like coaching. So if you see the rod, it's constantly bent and it doesn't give the fish slack. It's constantly uh man, if I didn't just why am I touching the yeah, what do you call this? Like having my hand go in front of the camera. That was stupid. Anyway, so if you look at how the rod is bent with Faisal here, and I've been teaching him since he was 6. So how he's fighting the fish, especially on lighter line and stuff, a lot of guys actually, um, when you're giving pressure to the fish, and this is something that I learned from Peter Pakula actually. So I'm not gonna take credit for this. So basically, there's a way to fight a fish where it's constantly under pressure, and you can see with Faisal here that the rod is bent um in full pressure, right? It's given. You can see that the back of the rod or the backbone is like pulling the it's the one pulling the fish instead of the tip. So basically, when you're fighting the fish, instead of angling it up like that, it has to be uh, only up to your shoulder length. Okay, and what happens is that the rod goes the bend goes to the backbone, and that's what lifts it. So the tuna that we're catching is typically this size. They're decent, but they're not that big, Probably, I don't know, what is that, 40-50 pound uh max. Yeah, so this one's one of the smaller ones. And the weird thing is the pattern for the yellowfin is weirder than the pattern for long tails, because the long tails, as far as long tails, you see, I'm trying to spike the brain here, and they said like, no, 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 you need to screw that. I'm not used to, like, for me the brain spikes are like just like nails and stuff, so anyway, it's that what do you call this, gruesome. I don't want YouTube to actually flag that. Okay, now what is this here? Okay. So this is a short one. So you'll see that here there's other boats and they're live baiting. And sometimes when you look at the back of the boat around this area here where the other boat is, you see? Okay? So around that level, you'll see like the fish busting up. So basically what these guys are doing are they're throwing like live bait, and it's when we have a chance actually. When we have a chance, I'm gonna show it. So what they do is they fish with buckets. It's pretty cool as well. I think it's one of those um, techniques that it's one of those techniques that um, is very unique to the fishery here. Okay, so basically what happens is that they have small buckets and they put like 5 fish or whatever. One fish has a hook, and they'll run in front of a school of dolphins or where the fish are busting. And what they do is they'll run, put it on neutral, gun the boat again, and put it on neutral. So what happens is that the back foams, right? And then they'll move, but not too fast. They'll move. So they'll have foam, right? And then they'll move. So they'll run, okay, they'll run to where the fish are busting or where they see dolphins. Okay. Then once they're there, they'll hover, Okay, it's still sliding, and then either they'll go on reverse to make the foam, and then go a little bit forward. So once they make the foam and then they go forward a little bit, they dump. So they dump these fish in the foam, but using buckets. Okay, and then there's typically two guys on port and starboard. They have five of these small bait fish. One has a hook. They'll toss it. Once they toss it, obviously these five, boom, hit the water. It's foaming. They get disoriented and then they scatter. So the tuna, seeing this, they'll pick out the fish. Bam, 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 bam. And then two of those fish that actually respond, boom, they get caught. So that's kind of like the style of fishing they have here. Hey, what's up, Sean? It's local style fishing, and it's all with handline. It's pretty cool. So um, when we get the chance, I'll what do you call this? I'll actually do that. Okay, so what is what are okay? Let me, because I'm trying to go through the footage, right? Okay, oh, that. Hmm. All right, so I'm gonna show you guys like the catch. Okay, this is like my first tuna, I think. Mm. um, Mike, one of the what do you call this? One of the plans. What I really want to do actually is do a like seminars, like actually go places, and then the plan was to get like several brands to pitch in. That kind of didn't work because the brands in Japan don't understand the kind of value that brings. I mean, Studio Ocean Mark obviously is in, and then the others kind of don't see the value because they don't deal with uh, the markets directly. But what I wanted to do was actually, like, yeah. So if I had like five brand sponsors and they're able to shoulder the expense, and it's spread across at least five sponsors. Um, I wanted to do a circuit around the U.S. of seminars and just showing guys and teaching guys the proper fundamentals. Okay, because here's the thing, right? Um, the reason why I wanted the Japanese brands is because, I mean, no offense to people that catch fish there, but uh, the the kind of fishing that you have in the states that's derived from the fishing methods in Japan is not fully like Japanized. It's not fully implemented because there's differences in tackle. Okay, so like take for example, there are American brands that would try to emulate. So instead of actually having like the proper rod, you get something half-assed. Okay, and I want a brand that's for that type of fishing, right? So like take for example, um, popping or stick baiting. So there's proper rods for that, and kind of doesn't reach the states. Instead, you have some brand like take for example Penn. They would have something pretty generic, to tell you honestly, and pretty heavy. Like last night when we were unloading, my I gave my daughter my big stick bait rod, and this is like what you use for big tuna and big GT for stick baits. Okay, stick bait specific rods. Uh, Patreon, Mike, I had that before, but you know, no one, no one bought in. So I'll what do you call this? I wasn't able to do that. So anyway, the plan was to, well, it's still around, you know. John, they're doing that in Japan already for the longest time. For cherry trout. So they're slow jigging for what do you call this, for cherry trout for the longest time. They're fast jigging too. So they have, I think they have lake trout in Japan as well, I think. But yeah, they've been doing that for the longest time. So there's like, we know it works. We know that they can be targeted with that. It's just that, in the States, no one's doing it. And guess what, a friend of mine from Canada has been jigging for them, and he was telling me like, dude, they work, thank you so much. uh, they Yeah, yeah, because I taught them here, one of my fishing buddies, and he's now in Cyprus doing the exact same thing. And he was like, he's always thankful for the stuff that he learned. So, and there's so many things that can be brought there, um, and very very effective. And honestly, I want to do it. I'm willing. And guess what, guys? I fly cheap. Okay, I fly cheap. So I can fly to the States at 90% of the ticket cost because my wife works for an airline, the Emirates. Problem is getting a visa with a Philippine passport without, say, someone support from the States saying that, like an invite letter or something. It's very difficult. And my mistake was I should have I should have done that when I was working for Rapala. And I thought that it was gonna last for a really long time, like, because I was there for like 7 8 years. So I thought that, and the guys over at the States, they were like, Kit, just tell us when, because we'd be happy to, like, imagine a big multinational actually, sponsoring, and that would be easy. But then, kind of hard. So what the requirement here is that, who might want to reach out to is Shields, big store, employee owned. They might endorse something like that. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I don't know them. We need to help you promote your brand also on Instagram, TikTok. Yeah, I have Instagram, I have TikTok. It's just that I'm not too active. Like for work, I had like Instagram. you know, I do. I did Instagram before, and I had like a very big following, and then I trimmed it down. I still post there. So Facebook, Instagram. I don't do a lot of TikTok. I don't know. I don't dance. And plus, remember, this is educational. Okay, and this is what a lot of people actually miss out on, because they a lot of people like the fishing bit and all that. But I mean, for me, the fishing bit is actually the easy bit. I mean, I like this 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 trip actually shows it. Okay, no one else had the most strikes. No one else landed the most. The guy who actually was close is, guess what? The guy who learned from me since he was 6. And even then, he even asked me like, "Hey, can I have one of those?" Right? And without my help, he could have actually caught one. And if I was greedy, I could have probably caught more, but I didn't. So I literally, on the second fish, I just said like, this is my last one. you know Anyway, I'm gonna show you guys the footage here. uh Maldives, love your videos. What's up, Yasif? Yeah, Maldives also one of the places I want to go to, because there's some beauty fishing there. All right, so you can see some birds up front, right? So this is, I think for this cast, I didn't catch anything yet, but you'll see. I actually get strikes here, right? And right beside me, there, I got hooked up, nothing, right? Reeled in again. Are you guys seeing this? Hold on, let me pause. Is the footage clear, guys? Are you seeing it? Great. Great. um okay, so big oof, that's the point. Okay, I was asked this yesterday by one of the guys on the boat. You know what he said? Kit, why don't you actually have like a lot of fishing videos? And I go, dude, I want to build people, right? I want, yeah, a frame rate is a little choppy because and it has a lot to do with the video being streamed. Okay, so basically I'm sharing a screen. That's why it's kind of what do you call this, choppy. But I told him like, dude, my fishing channel or my channel is not a typical fishing channel. If you because he actually checked it out. I told him like, if you look at it, it's like me in front of a class full of people. Okay, so I said I don't want to be the one in the camera. I want these guys watching to be the guys who are in the camera. So I'm like, I'm not the YouTuber that wants people to see me fish. I'm not like watch me fish kind of guy, you know. I want to make those people that people watch, right? So I mean, for me, um, there's so many people already doing that, and very few of them actually teach or give that kind of value, you know. And I mean, you know, it's not formal, but I want to be an educator in this space. Abdul, nah, we're just watching footage from yesterday. You know, boom, there we go. So it's hit, right? The cast out, just reel in, bang. Now, here, let me pause this, and I'll actually have to tell you guys this. Okay, um, this is something I don't normally do, and this is wrong. Okay, so before we proceed, I'd like to tell you guys that what you're seeing, like me touching the bag, that's wrong. Okay, typically what happens is that before I fish, everything is measured. The reason why I touch this is because I actually rigged it beforehand, and I loosened the drag. So after this, but take note also that it's counted how many clicks. So you'll see me actually, you know, um, what do you call this? Tighten it, but I count the clicks. So if you set your drag and you loosen it, count the clicks, how many clicks you actually have loosening it, and then you'll typically return to on or close to your setting when you actually click it back. Okay, so you'll see me here do that. I don't do this regularly. For me, when I set my drags, it's set and forget. Okay, so there you'll see back. Okay, so that was like what, 4 5. Okay, so here I'm actually showing that see, I locked my elbow. Okay, so once I actually uh, came tight on the fish, my elbow doesn't move anymore. It's locked. And again, I think in this video I'm actually discussing it. You know, and guys, this is a decent tuna. Okay, on PE3. Okay, and this whole thing, including the casting bit and the landing, um, it's 6 minutes. So look at the rod tip as well. See, and the bend of the rod, and see exactly if you know the bend of the rod is constant. It's not what do you call this? It's not bouncing all over the place. So I'm not creating slack. You know, and Faisal is so happy here because it's been a while since we've done this. You know, this is I think the first edition grapplers. This is the grappler type C. 80M. So this is 8 feet, maximum 80 grams. I think the better version for this is actually the full throttle 80M. Big combo. It's actually there. I just showed it earlier. It was It's what's this? Stella 14,000, and it's an OSHA plugger Flex Limited. Maximum 130. And my line there is PE6. Michael. See, I love talking to smart people, man. Because that's a very intelligent question, Mike. Um, I typically set it according to the equipment I use and not for the fish. I only do that for lighter stuff, for setting it for the fish. Feel like, fuck, this is the first time I've been asked like a question like this ever. And that, you know, and that's very fucking smart. Very good question. You know, spring scale is important. Yes, not a digital, Sean. Fuck digital, man. Spring scale. Yes, and that's actually what's good with one of the, what do you call this? I'll show you guys like one of the secret weapons. So after this, okay, let me pause this here. Okay, we still have like a few minutes to go, but here's a tip. All right, so just for you guys. Okay, so right here, guys. Right. Um, this is a Studio Ocean Mark, Ocean Grip 22507 Mark 8. What a fucking mouthful. But this, okay, it's not just a fish grip, it's actually a spring scale. So, um, especially for light stuff, light tackle, I use this a lot, So, um, but for this, I need someone's help. So basically, uh, this this actually, what do you call this? Acts like a drag scale as well. Obviously there are a lot of other drag scales in the market, but if you have something like this that actually has a scale, freaking use it, man. Like a boga, you know a boga would work. And the bogas are actually certified on their first year, when they're brand new, so that's accurate as hell. Typically spring scales are the most accurate scales that you can get. So you can get one on Amazon that actually has a marker. So if you guys want like an example, like Cardoza is a very good one, but if you guys want an example, just give me a heads up. I'll actually put it on the link on in this video if you want. But drag scales very important, and I usually measure my drag scale. I always tell people, you're like, here's my argument. Yeah, but Mike, it means you're thinking, dude. That's the point. Because a lot of people would just ask me, "What's your drag?" Like, you know, how am I supposed to freaking answer that if I know that there's several layers to that? So like your answer is actually perfect. You set your drag particularly for the type of fish you're going after or the equipment being used. Both. That's the yeah. So yeah, I mean, um, PE3. Okay, so this is kind of light. Sean, if it works for you, it works. This is what I'm saying. The whole subject of the drag, I'm not gonna be discussing it how I set mine and stuff, because people have their own way, and you can't argue with people because they're always right. Okay, but here we go. Okay, so a fish like this, freaking from start to finish 6 minutes, and then there's footage of Faisal doing the same thing on relatively the same equipment, and it took him 11. Well, actually, Faisal passed the rod onto someone else, but it's 11 minutes. But I mean, you get the idea. But you'll see that even if you compare my fighting style with his, you'll see how much of a my tuna is actually kind of bigger than what he caught. Or no, this is smaller actually. That second one is actually the biggest. But this is the kind of tuna that I want because this is the only size that fits my freezer. So we actually, okay. So here, Faisal's actually we don't even know, because all I remember is that I actually took the smaller of the two. So Faisal's tuna is down there, and mine is, and there's also like a, a long tail that's caught there. You could see, but basically, stop sharing. There we go. So basically, uh, what do you call this? The okay, going back to the what do you call this? The drags. But basically, you set everything before you fish. While you fish, that's that. Now the only thing you do is actually check it in the middle of the fishing trip if it's still the same. If it's not, then you set it again, because especially if you catch a fish, sometimes it's at a point where the carbon actually gets eaten up. So, especially on a big fish. And if you have like a really good runner, you should actually check your drag. So just to be consistent, because sometimes, well, not sometimes, but most times it actually wears the drags off. So you're gonna have to tighten it a bit. After the trip, that's when you loosen. Okay, so for me, I loosen the drags only after I wash them. Okay, well, I don't wash them; I wipe them down. So the rods, I wash them down. The reels, I wipe them down. Okay, because the guides, you have to wash them, because they, once you're casting and reeling, the salt and the water actually affects the guides more than the reel. Now, unless you're dunking your reel, you don't need to wash it because it's just subjected to spray. So all you have to do is just wipe it down and then run water onto the line. That's typically what I do. Um, Now, fighting the fish. Your drag is only one component. The reel, uh, it has the drag and everything, but remember that when you're fighting fish, the rod does a lot of the work as well. When do you choose mono over PE, or do you choose line over what lure you're using? Um, Before, I used to use a lot of mono for soft plastic, because with mono, uh, you can use fluorocarbon to sink it, and then you can use uh, copolymer and nylon to float it up. So, being, uh, let's say, being very technical when it comes to those things, you would want to do that. But then I realized that you could do the same if you're using like a long leader. So now I use braid almost exclusively. But braid is very flexible if you just know how to use it. And then for the finer things, you could either use fluorocarbon or monofilament to either sink it or have like a little angle on your line, so it's typically away from structure or debris or like snags and stuff. So yeah, you can play around with that. Uh, if a fish does a long run, loosen your drag. As the spool diameter gets smaller, the drag increases because it's less levers. That's correct. Yes. So if you have more than half of the spool of line, you actually loosen your drag, because what happens is that it's the diminishing, what I call the diminishing arbor effect. I mean, it's physics. As your line, as the line stack decreases, the drag increases. Drag grease depends on the reel, but what do you call this? For fly fishing, mm, there's neat's foot oil that we use on the drags, and then it works kind of the same for Studio Ocean Mark because it has like cork drags. Um, Carbon drags will benefit with a little bit of grease, but not a lot. So you wipe it down. You put grease, you wipe it down. Don't you know pack it with grease. So just wipe it down with grease. Typically, what I do is clean the drag washers with grease. So I put it. What do you call this? I put it on a tissue, wipe it down, alcohol. So that there's no what do you call this? Debris, because typically carbon washers will dust up. So if you wash them like with soap and water, and then you dry them up, you'll have that, take the dust off and everything, and then you just kind of put the grease, right, and then wipe it down. So there's a little bit of grease on them before I put them on the stack, and that makes them super smooth. Uh, yeah, okay, so that's uh, yeah. So Michael, there's technicalities involved. You know what I mean? So it's not um what do you call this? It's not a straightforward answer, and uh there's always going to be uh you'll find that the answer is always going to be left field. You know what I mean? It's not that. Typically, it's this, because what happens is that you're going to find, when questions are asked, it's mostly one dimensional, but when it comes to fishing, it's actually multi-dimensional, dude. You're talking about just mono exclusively, but then you'll find that the best for some styles is actually, like for me, I found that a mix, right? So that's why even in my jigging, you'll find me having like variable leader lengths according to use. So it becomes very specific. And guess what? Even the Japanese agree with me. What opinion about owner? Owner Kizuna. Guess what? Um, I think last month I had a discussion with owner, and they were pushing Kizuna, right? And I was like, yeah, okay, because I only use line. I only use line from brands that have their own factory. Okay, so in this casting reel, it's actually suffix, and it's suffix 131, and that's hard to beat for casting lines. I'm telling you guys, 131 is hard to beat. It's expensive as fuck, but I got them free, so that's fine. I used to work for the factory, and also the one that I have is like KDM, so it's exclusive for, like, it's a production from Korea, and as far as that is concerned, it's as close to JDM as it goes. So I have not found line that performs really well, uh, just super round profile and everything, like even with the Japs, so 131 really really good. Kizuna, um as you know, I work with owner too, right? So I had discussions with them last month, and they're gonna send over a batch. So Varivas X9, actually really good. It's just that I don't use Varivas, but a friend of mine swears by them because he's a pro for Varivas. I have like a few Varivas spools here that he gave, and I haven't used them. um, the Varivas doesn't make their own line, so not my preference. And also before, I had like a lot of accidents, so I prefer not to. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people use them with great success, so great. But there are bad batches, right? And uh, they don't respond. That's the problem. I even have there one subscriber here yesterday that actually said that he's been reaching out to Varivas, and they haven't really spoken to him. But that's typical, So no, I'd rather avoid. Methods to RX madness, but with your experience, you can dumb it down. uh, hey, what's up, Rock? If people have issues with their line, make sure to check any nicks in the guide inserts first. That's correct. I had like an ultralight rod before, right? Imagine an ultralight rod, man. That's the worst that could happen. Like ultralight, very thin line. Um, I kept on getting like damage, and then that's when I found out that the tip actually had an issue. So that was unfortunate. Um okay, so let's go back to this. So there's that. Where is this? Okay, so um, okay, so for those guys that actually asked the setup that I have for um, big setup, so it's this one right here. Okay, so that is a Stella 8,000 or 14,000. Doesn't matter. The body is the same, but that's with the Studio Ocean Mark spool, and the rod is a um, Osha Plugger Flex Limited. So it's one of those older. So that these two. So this is the grappler, and I actually didn't get to use this because there weren't any big ones for around, so that's it. Okay, so you can see that there's birds there. Okay, stopped and then started casting out, and at this point Faisal wanted to catch one with a popper. He wasn't too successful, but I think after this clip is the clip that I caught the second one in. But you can see the birds are there, and if you look closely, you'll see that there's actually boils underneath them. But they're moving so fast, and this is where boat with four 400 horsepower motors comes in, because you can there was one boil, just what do you call this, just there. So yeah, have to change the lure here. So that's fucked. And actually, what I want to do is Fishman. Which is that? Oh no, there's Fishman. I don't know, man. Uh, that's actually a very good tip, Jonathan. Huh? I use a tissue. You know, I use a tissue. Just run the tissue. Since it's soft, you know, actually rips off, and you'll see. Uh, Abdul Rashid, bad batches with Varivas. God, just pulled my tune. It doesn't happen often, but it happens, right? It doesn't happen often, but it happens. Fishman, algorithm kept coming up after being looking for travel rods. Yeah, I would choose Yamaga. I am fishing in the UAE, and in this footage you're seeing, we're actually fishing near Iran on the blue jigs, not into the blue. First jointed jigs, from my understanding. There's a lot. There were jointed jigs for a long time, man. They didn't work. Like even the fast jigging era, there were already jointed jigs. Like, dumb idea, for me at least. Does Yamaga have good travel rods? There's a few, actually. There's like two or three. Actually, you know what? There People are shocked when it like we have big tuna. We have tuna over 100 kilos. We have GTs that are the biggest in the world here in Oman, which is like next door. Um, we have bluefish, like a shitload of bluefish in in like the desert, like really big bluefish. It's crazy, but yeah, they're there. Um, I heard it takes more skill to make multiple piece rods. Uh, I'll tell you what. For multiple piece rods, you will not find any better quality than the fly fishing rods. And apparently, as Dave said, like they started doing that in the 80s. So imagine the kind of lead that the fly fishing industry has over the conventional tackle fishing. But the multiple piece rods on our conventional rods, they're not as good yet. That's why I haven't. I have two that are like casual. Make your way to SoCal sometime and do a long range trip. Yeah, once I sort things out, like I said earlier with Michael, um, visa for the U.S. is very difficult for Filipino. What do you call this? Filipino passport holders, believe it or not. So like, and my mistake is that I had a lot of chances where there were a lot of things that would have made it easier. So now it's kind of hard, but now I want to go. Before I wasn't really, because what I want to do is actually go to the States and do a circuit of seminars, and really. What I'm interested in is sharing the fundamentals, like the proper fundamentals, because a lot of people uh, don't have their fundamentals correct in the US. After the fundamentals, it sorts itself out, right? I mean, for me, just getting the fundamentals done, showing people what is and what isn't. Okay, so like take for example, if I brought with me a spool of oshikage, okay, which is the ultralight braid that I use. If I bring a spool of oshikage, go to the store and there in the US and buy the thinnest braid available, that says like 4 pound test. You compare both of them, you'll be shocked. And that's what I want to do. I want to show people the proper stuff because there's a lot of stuff in fishing that's in like from Japan, techniques from Japan that are being applied in the US, and they're wrong. It's wrong, you know so like the equipment, let's say, you're trying to do like JDM techniques. It doesn't work. Why? Because your braid is thick, the reels ratio is off, the rods are not as what do you call this, as sensitive or as thin. Because if you have thick line, you have to put it on a rod that also can take that line. You can't just put thick line on a thin rod. That's not gonna work. So I want to show all these things in the States. That's what I want to do. So we'll see. I am convinced a spinning reel is ideal for shore jigging versus a bait caster. It gave me a reason to use a spinning reel. Man, you would be surprised, man. You would be surprised. Like this is my best shore jigging rod right here, paired with a Conquest. It's hard to beat, man. I prefer overheads. I prefer over and any day in any fishing. I would prefer overheads. Uh, I heard it takes more skill to make multiple. Yeah, yeah, yes, yeah. The Americans were trying to emulate Asian bamboo. I got Zagan slow pitch PE 2 to 4 max. Oh, great! Earlier this year, but I haven't used it. Finally got the chance to use this October. What's the best jig weight for the rod and best technique to work it? Okay, so is it the Zen? Is it the Zen Zagan? I have the 100-gram version. Fucking good, man. So typically, when it comes to use PE2, that's standard. So typically, with slow jigging and fast jigging for modern rods, the closer you are to the max weight, the better it will become. Would people get left off the boat for using spinning reel when I grew up? Yeah, typically, especially in Southern California, definitely. Uh, so you're a good teacher. You have done well in bringing up the knowledge of technical fishing among anglers worldwide. I'm trying, Yasif. I'm trying. This is gonna be my first trip using jig more than 80 grams. Just I think when it comes to like first timers, okay, I think the best advice I'd give you is don't stop and just trust it, because it's very difficult for people to get their heads around, you know, and get their heads around, especially when you're fishing with bait the whole time or something else. It's so difficult to actually get your head around the method, but once you get it to work, it actually gets better. Zen Zagan, the red one. Yeah, I have one, man. Okay, let me get it. Here. So I have the Max 100, and I love it. Holy crap, I love it. It's super nice, low cost, and Asian style. But holy crap, man, it's good. So I love it. It's really really good, and especially for like Max 100 or whatever. I mean, for me, I use this, and then especially here in the Gulf, I love it. It's very hard to beat. Um, that's why I also showed it. Showed it that it's really good. So paired with Blue Safari or what's this? Uh, OSHA Conquest 200, fucking good combo. Prefer overheads even at night. Yeah, man. I mean, uh I fish with overheads at night um for surf fishing. You know, you just have to get used to it, really, and you get to have the feel. You know what I mean? And typically, even with the heavy stuff, right? You cast out, and then you'll feel the slowdown when the sinker's about to hit the water, and then as soon as it hits the water, just choop. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been using it since I was a kid, so and the stuff that I'm using now is even harder because, like for surf fishing, when I because there's short butts, right? The foregrips are longer, so you actually hold the spool with your left thumb, and then you cast like that, right? Instead of casting, like that. It's better to show you. So this is typical South African style surf rod. So, you know, instead of actually holding it like that with a long handle like this, and you cast it like this, right? So, zoom, and then you control with your left. So um, it's harder to get around, but nah, no backlash, dude. That's practice, dude. That's practice. And plus you just have to, like, for any type of fishing, you just have to trust the process and the skill. After a while, it's like freaking riding a bicycle. You just know, at nighttime, in the wind, and all that. That's something you just actually kind of learn. You do you want more hang time on the jig when shore jigging with a spinning reel? Um, Depends. It depends. That's what do you call this? The jig. Basically, when you are shore jigging, you're not fishing on. If you're fishing with complete slack, you're doing it wrong. So basically, what you're doing is fishing with a controlled slack, right? So an overhead gives you that controlled slack without aid, because once you cast, as soon as it lands, it's not gonna give it line. It's gonna slowly give it line because it has to rotate the spool, right? So what happens is, after you're cast and you're holding it, you're thumbing the spool, you'll feel the strike when the fish grabs it. You'll feel it more from the spool, So click, bang. Whereas with the spinning, you cast out, the fish takes the lure, you think it's still falling. So there's an advantage. Again, it's controlled slack. It's not fully slack. Um, why does the spool catch knots when using? I don't know what you mean. Uh, did you catch anything on that new SOM casting reel? Yesterday, I actually just casted it a few times. I never got the chance to actually really use it. So, because it it can only cast bigger lures. So if it was any smaller, like take for example, I'm trying to convince the guys to actually make like an L30 wide for casting, you know, so for casting lighter line. So if they're able to do that, holy crap, that would be freaking awesome. I think the spinning reel and its handle style would be easier to rock. Listen, um, you know, uh, it's subjective, man. Wind knot. Like not a backlash. No, it depends. I mean, you get wind knots even with spinning. You know, you just do it right, and then it's practice, dude. It's practice. And believe it or not, like take for example for jigging, like typical jigging, right? Oh God, hold on. The dog's wanting to go in. What do you want to hang out? Huh? Come here, come here, come here. Come on. Show. Come on, come on. Come. Come on, come on. Over here. Let's go, let's go. Come on, boy. So this guy was knocking on the door. Up. Come on, bud. Stand up, stand up. Stand up. He's sitting down. Look at him. Who's this? He wanted to hang out. Big bud. Yep. What's the buddy doing? Is that okay? Go. Let's go. Want to hang out with daddy? Stay here. I'm on a stream, boy. What's this? What's this? Hmm? You're gonna need a bath. All right, go. Go over there. Go. That's it. Good boy. They're like my kids. uh, his name is King. King Koi. Yeah. In our dialect, King Koi means clown. But his name is King. You know. And then I told my daughter, "It's like, hey, he has like a Chinese name. Like really?" I was like, "Yeah." Um, so King Koi is like we call him King Koi, right? Clown. But his real name is King. So I just adopted him, by the way. So she was like, "So what's his last name? It would be like our last name." I go, "No. His last name is Fa." She's like, "Fa?" I was like, "Yeah, Fa King Koi." If you're Filipino, you'll get that joke. Oh God. Anyway, so where were the spool catch? Sean, I think that L80 halfway spooled with PE 45 would be amazing. I mean, just spool it halfway. I don't know, man. I mean, I had the L80 yesterday. I didn't get to use it because I thought that when I asked Faisal, I was like, "Hey, are we gonna like have a chance to use jigging?" Because I brought one like max 500, and he goes, "Nah," and I just left it in the car, so I didn't get to use it. Um, but I mean, the fish were small, so you know, like what's that on that thing? Like PE 8, I think I put on that. It's too much for the fish. It would be very easy if they bit the 300, at least 300-gram jig, but didn't get to use it. Um, if I had the blue safari though, that would have been perfect. You know. Uh, okay, so rock, honestly, practice. That's it. The advantage of spinning reels is ease of use. That is it. Other than that, there's nothing. So like take for example for typical jigging, in Japan, you'll find that a lot of people are actually using overheads more than spinning. And for me, I only use spinning reels for two reasons. If I'm being lazy, that's A, and B, if I'm using long jigs. Because fishing the spinning reel with long jigs automatically gives you that pause on the very apex to make the jig slide. So it makes it easier. Now, whereas you'll have to consciously do it on on a an overhead, which I can do. That's why I love overheads, you know. But if I'm feeling lazy, or if I'm like just giving it to someone new because it's easier. Uh, why some jigging rod reels hit trigger bend forward like normal casting, and some bend backwards? It had to do with the technique or the type of reel over it. Some actually they're designed for a trigger grip, and some for a hand grip like that. So it's like this. Um, it really depends on the maker. So basically, if you're like fast jigging, it's better to actually have that big trigger so that you can hold the reel like that. And then for slow jigging, it's better to have like the small trigger, because it fits better in your hand. What about you, L? I like spinning more. For ultralight, you don't have a choice. It's spinning because for bait casting, it's not ultralight. It's called BFS. One and the same. Ultralight, it's easier to manage because spinning was invented to cast light lures in the first place. Yeah, I mean, if you want to learn how to slide a jig easier and you've just started, um, get a long one. Sorry, get a spinning. That's it. It's what do you call this? Like, look, of all the jigging equipment that I have, rods, I have like the game type slow J for the spinning, and then the rest would be like not really something that I invested on, but I invested on a good spinning reel and rod setup for jigging. It's a game type slow J paired up with a twin power 8000 PG or a Stella 8000 PG. That's it, and the rest are all overheads. What gram is BFS weight on jigs for? 14 is heavy, dude. Like BFS would be 5 and below, 5 grams and below. Lever brake spinning reels. Yeah, man, a long time ago. A long time ago. Not my. I didn't get used to it really. Japs use it and stuff for some types of fishing. ISO fishing is one. Uh, I think there's some people that actually used it before for egging. No, it's like like the rear drags with the like bait runners, rear drags. I haven't really like I didn't really get into them. Like at one point, I was using bait runners to fish for oxeye tarpon back home. Uh, but even that was weird. And then my very first spinning reel was actually a rear drag, which I really liked because you can pop off the spool and change it and stuff. But they're not as nice to work with than like front drags. Front drags are infinitely more adjustable. Uh, but yeah, like for me, guys, for me, I don't know if you've noticed, but everything that I do is actually very simple. Okay, so even if like the techniques are kind of advanced and but I like simple stuff. You know what I mean? Best of all, a simple-minded girl. No, my wife is far from that. Oh God, what a joke! What a segue. But okay, so I like simple stuff because I really think there's beauty in simplicity, and there's no need to complicate stuff. So, like, take for example, you will find that my rigs are very simple and very straightforward. Okay, so I like things simple with less frills because the more you put in, the more there is what do you call this? The more there will be a chance for breakage. Like take for example, if you have a lot of hardware, um, you'll find that if you count the parts that can break and eventually will break, if you're fishing for fish like tuna and GT, they will find like that one part of your system that will break. Um, how do you improve? Right? I think that's the biggest thing, right? So, like, take for example, if you're a big game fisherman, you're good at what you're doing and all that. You think you know what you're doing and stuff like that. Go into ultralight, and then you'll find that uh, wherever you have gaps in your system, you will find it on ultralight. But follow the rules of ultralight instead of actually using like a very thick leader and stuff like that. You know, use a thin one. Because it doesn't make sense to like have a beetle with like monster truck wheels. That's not what you drive every day. I wouldn't have been able to figure out how all these things work after being bombarded with marketing without you explaining the concepts. So yeah, I mean, like right now, everyone wants to sell, and this is why this channel exists. Like everyone wants to sell, but they don't want to explain. Because here's the thing, and this is something that you should realize when this is what I've realized when I was working in the industry. Typically, what brands will do is they will show you all these things, and then everything is open to interpretation. You know, Majority of these people that sell stuff, especially when they're just copying, don't even know um, what they're selling. Okay. Very little people, very little. There's only a handful of brands that actually um, consciously introduce products that know exactly what they're supposed to be used for, and how they're supposed to be used. The problem is they also don't show people because they know that this lure or this style or this hook or this leader can do a lot more. So what they do is they just put it out in the world, they show you a little bit of it, and then um, they will take credit for things that like, take for example, they invent something for uh, a snapper, and then all of a sudden this thing actually catches amberjack, and very very effective at it. They're gonna take credit for that. They're just say like, oh, but they won't tell you that, oh, it's actually designed only for this fish. They will never ever tell you that, but they will take credit. So that's how things are now. The problem is, of course, as the end user, you don't know exactly what's happening, right? Yeah. So yeah, and that's how the rock. That's actually how the industry survives from impulse purchases, and I believe it shouldn't be like that. Uh, yeah, I mean, like all these brands exist so that you can play around. But like I said, if you actually constantly experiment, it gets very expensive. It gets very expensive because they stack up. So, like, take for example, for me, when it comes to equipment, the mentality before is like more is best. But now, as far as the investment on what do you call this equipment is concerned, I buy the best that I could buy, like the best reels, the best rods, and stuff like that. And then, as far as the tackle systems are concerned, that's where I juggle things up around and stuff. Now, typically, when it comes to reels, it takes years for the evolution to happen, for a top end reel to be fully obsolete. Like, here's a very good example. Um, Buy once, cry once. Yeah, like a band-aid, right? You just rip it once, and then instead of actually doing it slowly. Um, I guess circumcision works the same way, huh? Uh, what do you call this? Like, take for example, for the reels, right? I have a reel, a twin power. Imagine, not a Stella, but a twin power, 2008. And if I use it now, it's still going to be very, very much relevant, and it still works like really great. And in fact, if you're blindfolded, you would think that it would be a Stella or a twin power. Okay, so that's a reel from 2008. So what has evolved since? A lot of it is looks. Of course, the water sealing, the micro module technology and all that has changed things, but those changes have been very significant from, let's say, the jump from 2008 to 2015, right? So the 2015 reel was worth buying, let's say. Now, from 2015 to 2025 or 2024, see exactly what actually changed, because there's very little. There's very little. In fact, the 2015 reel would give you more advantages than the 2025 reel. It's like these guys. It's like these, you know, they change every 6 months. And this is why I say that the reels are more important than the rods, because the rod technologies actually change even faster. right? For the real technologies, it moves slowly. So typically you'll find uh, the change, like the fully changed ones would be like, um, let's say 5 to 10 years. But technology has reached its peak, okay, and the increments for actually uh, the changes that they make is it's tiny, minuscule. Like take for example, the biggest thing that Shimano has changed is the oscillating feature. Dude, ever since the oscillating feature on a Stella has always been slow, and the line lay has always been really good, but they changed it up now. So basically, what they're doing now is that it's slow going and then it's faster, right? Before it was just slow and then slow. So now it's slow and then it's fast. That's technology from the Blue Safari. That's technology from the Blue Safari. Blue Safari, the level wind goes slow and then fast. Okay? And guess what? Blue Safari has been introduced not 2025, that's been around for a few years. So, you know, there's value in that. Yeah, is that gonna change your casting? It's that is it gonna give me like an extra 50 yards or 50 meters? You know, so the technology hasn't reached a point where I actually says like shit, I have to change my reel. So for me, invest on a good reel, then guess what, you'll swap your rods a lot, but your reel remains the same. So yeah, there was an argument before, like the rods are more important. Like bullshit, man. I like, again, I will repeat it, and it's probably not a good thing to say. I can get rods cheap or free. I can get reels cheap or free. Okay, unless you have the same access, you don't know what you're talking about when you said that the rod is actually more important. you know, uh-uh. Like even now, I can call some people and I say I need this reel, and then guess what? I can have it. I can pick it up immediately. It's that easy. Like a Stella, right? A Stella or yeah, Stella. Probably even a Saltiga if they have it on stock. But it's that easy. I mean, I'm not trying to boast here, guys, but that's the truth. But guess what? With the amount of reels that I have, let's say, even if I get it free, I'm not going to get a lot of benefit from it, right? So rods, um, they're like underwear. You change them often because technology on the rods, it's like, you know, it's faster. Like take for example, 5G rods, right? Before you know it, there's already 7G. But guess what? If you put, but for a major craft, but if you put the same reel on there, so yeah, for me, reels are more important. Invest on a really, really good reel, and you can get rid of the rods as they progress, and you'll find that the reels will still stay relevant. That's why it's very important to get a good one. Uh, Play with the cheap gear and figure out where to put my. Yeah, I mean, I used to do that. And then after a while, you find that when you stack them all up, it's like the price of a Stella. Uh, Michael's asking, or is saying, I'm going on a deep sea fishing trip where the captain supplies everything. Would you consider bringing your own setup? Oh, yeah, yeah, Michael. When you're fishing with your own setup, more than likely, if you're buying the top end, okay, and they work better, they're more reliable, and they're better than the gear that the captain can provide most of the time. This is why, like, take for example, for GT fishermen, they use their own gear. They take their own gear. Like for me, if I travel, like take for example, next month, my wife is like trying to convince me to go to Thailand and do some fishing there and make some content for you guys. I'm still on the fence for that. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of things happening, so we'll see. I'm not gonna promise, but maybe it happens, maybe not. But um, if I do that, I'm gonna take my own gear, even if they're providing gear there. But hell no, I mean, my equipment's better. You know, um, I do a lot of UL and currently use a major craft first cast. Oh God, change the rod. with Surinoya. Okay, yeah, you need to get better equipment, dude. Yosef. Um, it's like if you look at the footage on the boat, dude, like everything's like Stellas. You know, there were two there. There's one twin power and one Stradic SW, but the rest are all Stellas. But that's the boat of Barracuda. That's like, you know, the boat of what do you call this? The boat of the shop, like, And Faisal, um, he's the son of my fishing buddy, the owner. So that's why, since 6 year old, he's been learning from me. Uh, can you suggest a Shimano reel for this? I have a twin power and Vanquish in my mind. Vanquish. Daiwa stuff with the mag seal there. From time to time you actually get a problem with it. Vanquish for ultralight is the best that you can get because it's literally the top end for the MGL series. Um, Rocco, it depends on what you want to do. Like take for example, for shore jigging, a Vanquish stops the buck. That's it, right? Because it's light. It's the lightest reel in the MGL series, and then you get a rod that's also light. Like take for example, cross ride 5G. You're sorted. That's it, and you won't look. You won't look. If they have the same rods, just bring my reels. Good idea, Sean. Because at the end of the day, the reels would be the component that would suck. As far as the rods are concerned in traveling, it's very difficult. Very, very freaking difficult to bring the rods unless you're fully committed. So yeah, I would agree. Very good idea. Uh, but could you suggest a premium combo sets suitable for deep sea trek? Okay, that's a piece of string, and the piece of string is like how long is a piece of string? You know, Michael, you have to be very specific. What type of fishing are you doing? Deep sea, inshore, what type of fishing? Now, for the US, uh, typically what happens is that you have uh, one and done solutions, but for Japanese style fishing, it's very surgical. So you could have like 20 rods and reels for different types of fishing. So what type of fishing are you doing? And then after that, we can start from there. I did the best I could. The culture you explained about the tackle shop is true. They'll tend to steer you. Oh yeah, definitely, because they want to sell. It's not a what do you call this? It's a business. It's not a charity. Luxury purchases. You would not believe how many of the reels I have that are actually cheap. Like take for example, I have the Stradix, I have the Soiree BB. The Soiree is actually a cheap ass reel. It's $150 before, and believe it or not, it's actually one of my default ultralight reels. I use it more than my 1000 Stella. Put it that way. After Magsil came to Daiwa, yeah, I look, either you like the Daiwa stuff or you don't. I mean, I have the Caldea, the old one, that's supposed to have problems, and for mine doesn't have problems, and until this day I use it. Right, so that's a ultralight reel. That's a 2004. Yeah, 2004 model, not 2000, the 2004 size. So basically a 2000 with a shallow spool. I use it and it's doing great, but you know um, I know that its brothers and sisters, same batch from where I got from, had issues. So typically you'll either have a good one or a bad one. So a lot of people kind of get turned off or got turned off because of that, and it's not limited to the cheaper reels as well. Imagine a brand new Saltiga after one use and then it burst and then it becomes really tough to reel. I mean, how would you not get put off, right? So, it happens. It's typical with the mag seal, you know. Um, but they're not bad reels. There are some when if you get a really good one, you get a really good one, and especially now, the build quality of like the last two Stellas, the build quality is actually not as good. So a lot of people have moved on to the Saltiga. Graphite leader is actually pretty good. They've been around for a long time. They make the Olympic what do you call this stuff as well. I think they have really good ultralight rods. But typically, you won't find a lot of information with about graphite leader outside of Japan. Red snapper, cobia, yeah. But what are you gonna do, Mike? Are you gonna jig? Are you gonna bait fish and all that? Why buy the soiree when you bought it and then show it to me on TV? Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a very good reel for, let's say, what it's designed for, like ultralight fishing, and it's very light. So you get a good value for your money. So for me, that's that. Now I prefer it over the CI4 Stradic that I have. Also, it's a PG. So that's oh, that saved me a lot right there. Saved me a lot of headaches. Um, Wanting to buy to try jigging. I just want to know if it's doable using spinning reel. For fast jigging, yes. Um, for slow jigging, no. But for fast jigging, yeah, viable. I mean, I use this is something that actually was discussed earlier. Like um, for long jigs, it's easier to make them get their action more than the sliding action more than with a an overhead reel, because with the overhead reel you consciously have to do it, but with what do you call this, with the spinning reel, it automatically does it because you cannot continuously pump with the spinning reel. You have to stop at the apex, Chuk! And that stop actually makes it jump forward and slide. So just remember that when you pump it up, you pause for a longer period of time to extend the slide. But yeah, it does that. um, Mike, reach out to me on Instagram. I'll send you, like, we'll discuss more line tests and all that, depths, and then after that we'll guide you. Okay. It's not difficult. If it's bait fish, dude, it's not difficult. You can get a lot of it from the US, but when it's a bit more technical than that, like jigging and stuff, that's when it gets complicated. um but yeah, inshore, offshore, you know it's easier. There's a lot of and you can save money if you actually stay with what's available in the States. If you go into jigging and stuff like that, that's when it gets kind of specific and expensive. My Daiwa BGs got me surf fishing, have served me well. The Daiwa BGs, man, they're good. um I think a lot of people have started with BGs, like the BGs from the long time ago. I had a BG, and then when they introduced the new stuff, or the new model, actually pretty good. So a lot of people also learn, and still learning from BGs, and I hope Daiwa doesn't discontinue it. Series do you use? I For my rod, I use, for my spinning rod, I use the ah, so I use the Shimano Game Type J. Um, this is for 8,000 to 10,000 sized reels. I use PE4. Oh no, PE5 for that. for both the 8,000 and the 10,000. So 10,000 is basically an 8,000 with a bigger spool. Um, I'm unsure how to jig, and even if I did, I'm not certain works well in southern states. Oh, dude, jigging works everywhere. Jigging works everywhere. So yeah, but start with bait fish, Mike. Okay, and then after that, when you get bored or when you actually get more technical, you can actually branch out to more. What do you call this? Uh, I just oiled them, and end of the summer they have been good. I did change all of the drag washers for carbon tex and put the yeah, typical. Uh, with the upgrades for the bearing and the carbon tex. Yeah, I mean, sure, jigging works everywhere. Jigging works everywhere, really. Yeah, I mean, I think the game type J is like the standard for jigging and stuff. I think like I have two nephews in the Philippines, right? And they said like they wanted to get into this. So uh, I had working with their dad. I had two rods arranged for them from Japan. They were all game type slow J because they wanted to try or not get into slow jigging. So it was game type slow J and OSHA Jigger 2000s and spooled with PE2. So that's what they have in the Philippines to work with. So that's their starter combo. So yeah, I mean for jigging, I would always recommend like to start with an game type slow J, game type J. In your case, Yosef, if you're doing like light jigging, so game type LJ, it's really good. No, I didn't get to catch anything, rock, because it needs like big lures for you to cast. And yesterday it was the smaller lures that actually caught fish. Any options on CD? I'm sure jigging rods or is it crapshoot? Dude, you know what? Um, buy Major Craft or any of the other brands instead of China. It's not worth it, man. It's not worth it. I'm sure there are, but you have to go through a shitload. Like take for example, you know, when I bought the Ikuda, I went to the shop, and it's a good Chinese brand. I would say that to buy two rods, I went through um, 40 rods, splining them, just seeing the alignment of the rods before I actually got the two that I needed. And I wouldn't recommend you doing it, because you will get banned. Someone actually said that, oh, I did this and I got banned from the tackle shop. So some tackle shops don't like it because you're basically choosing the best one from the lot, and then if other people actually see you do this, how would they sell the other rods, right? So they don't like it when you do that. But for me, the guy didn't know what I was doing, so, and I told him that I am looking for the one that feels good in my hands. He didn't know what I was doing. So basically, the problem with Chinese rods is that they're one of the few things they do to make production cost low is to not spline it correctly. So the spline is not aligned. It could be that it's on the side, all this. So it causes you like issues and stuff. So yeah, Ripple Fisher is all in house. Of course, they have their own factory. Actually, Ripple Fisher is a small corner inside the Yamaga factory. It's owned by the daughter of the guys that own Yamaga. The shore jigging works well in southern states. I'm planning to get that too. She want to get that. Yeah, okay. Any options? CDM? Yeah, okay. How about reels to be paired with those rods that you mentioned? Um, Specifically, what 7 days? I believe you jigging work everywhere. Here in Malaysia, use micro jig in freshwater and catch peacock bass. You could catch anything on a micro jig, man. Yusri, you can catch anything on a micro jig. I like freshwater, saltwater, you know, and even when you're hanging around tackle shops, you catch fishermen as well. But micro jigs work. I had a sentimental Daiwa saltist, lot of history catching sailfish and dorados. I dropped it. Ah, ah, Abdul, dude, just frame it up, man. Put it as a display. That's too bad. Oh God, I feel bad. I can have a 10-foot rod to my door. It's kinda tempting to just. Yes, it's tempting, but it's $50, $60 that could be a dud as well. That's the problem. Tried to find spare, but was discontinued. Yes, that's long been discontinued. No, it's not worth it, man. Just buy a new modern reel, and just have that reel as a memento. You know, and it's better. Like for me, my twin power 8000 is still usable, right? It's older than my daughter. Now it's retired. It's sitting comfortably in a shelf. It's you know has a lot of history and all that. So you know, John, are you able to provide? It's very difficult. You know, I explained how JDM works and stuff like that. Um, Amazon has a few things, but if you want, again, just talk to me on Instagram. Send me a message there, and maybe I can help you out. There are some places where it's cheaper, so it depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, let's see what your requirements are, and maybe I can point you in the right direction. Zinat, are they legit? Uh, you know, on paper, Zinat is very, very nice, and then there are a lot of people that are using them that have really good success and actually swear by them. But um, I know of a lot of Xenax that actually broke. Okay, and then the guy who used to repair rods here, and he was like really good at repairing. He typically had like 4 to 5 Xenax in a week for repair. So if I was to invest on, or well, my preference when I'm investing on like expensive gear, Ripple Fisher, Ripple Fisher, and they've been around longer. What part of the is around here? Getting online from US is hell. Yes, yes, it's hell, man. A lot of people that try to. I mean, people are looking at auction sites and all this and that. Before they were cheap, but now they because the guys that are selling also know that there's a huge market in the US, so the prices have been jacked up. So it's been kind of, what do you call this? But see, my thoughts on secondhand gear. It's very difficult. I've been there. It's very difficult to actually get one that's like really good. So if you don't mind, having something that has kinks and some history, that's fine. If you know how to fix reels, think again, because there are a lot of people that have boasted that think that they know how to, you know, put together a reel. When they open a Studio Ocean Mart, they go like, there's this is nothing. This is easy. And then when they put everything together, they get it wrong, and then they go like shit. And I told you so. So think twice. Rock, listen, they're good rods, and like some reels, even Stellas are not immune to that. They're, you know, it's a production thing, so it could be that it's user error, and then these rods broke. We don't know, but I know that the guy that repaired them here were getting like 4 to 5, whereas he was getting zero ripple fisher. So for me, I've been using Yamaga and Ripple Fisher for a really long time, so I'm sticking with them. When Zenak was actually introduced here, I was like, oh, okay. A lot of people bought into them. A lot of people are happy. Obviously, the guys that broke the rods are not happy with them. So it's typical. The sites are funky, but I get my order to my door in 3 to 5 days from Digitaka. Digitaka is a good source if they have it. Digitaka is not complete. So if they have it, all in good, and they ship cheap. I get some stuff from Digitaka. What's your opinion on Okuma? It's a piece of shit. Is it true that one of those underrated brands that have not the reason why they actually have not found their way in a bigger audience is because it's a piece of shit. Forget it. You know, um, I've used Okuma before. I was an Okuma user. It's terrible. Even their top ends. So they can't compare. Like the only Okuma that's worth using would be the Makaira, the Marlin reel. That's it. And Peter Pakula was actually involved because the engineers that left Shimano before actually worked on the Makaira. So those are the only reels in within Okuma that's worth using. All the rest, fuck man, piece of shit. Like I've used a lot of their fly reels extensively. And imagine fly reels are so simple. Fucking pieces of shit, man. You know? And guess what? I've caught big fish on their reels. I'll go back to what I said before. Fucking pieces of shit. Waste of money. There was a time that I was looking at the rods that's exclusive for Shimano, the PCH. I don't have them. So, it means that I didn't find them um, worth to invest in. So, no, no, no Okuma. Not for me. There are a lot of people that would disagree otherwise. I'm like, okay, that's all in good, dude. So you can stay with the Okuma. You know, that's fine. If it works for you, fine. But no, like I've been there, done that. Several of their reels, they freaking failed on me. Um, when in times when they shouldn't have, mind you. Okay, so like, no, just no. Like for a spinning reel, right? Sorry, for a fly reel, and for an anti-reverse bearing to fail in the unlikeliest of times, no, forget it. No, no, not. Fly fishing reels are so simple, guys. Okay, they could be like, um, and mind you, these were not cheap. There's like 200, 300 US at that time in the late early 2000, I would say. That's not a cheap reel. Like what is it about? Yeah, 200, $300. That's not a cheap reel. Um, and then failures. Like what the hell, dude? Really? Like I can buy like $100 reel from Ross, okay, a brand in the States that will actually work better and it's lighter. Like really? Forget it. So no, no Kuma for me. Some guys, yeah, okay, if that's it. But comparing it with a Shimano or a Daiwa, forget it. Just stay with Daiwa and Shimano, guys. That's the standard. That's it. Like you know. Right, let's go look at more footage here. Where are we? What is this here? Okay. This is I showed this already. So next is let me see this first. I'm gonna show you guys like the second fish, I think, because after this I need to go and clean the fish. Um, is this the one? No, I'm looking for that footage. Nope. Uh, is this the one? Yeah. All right. So this one, I think this is the one that I was telling you guys earlier that I was actually casting. I use Okuma for my lead line counters. I'm sure there are products that are okay. My experience was bitter because I wanted them to replace the reel and they didn't replace the reel. Even clearly, it was a failure in engineering. And, you know, after that, I just said, like, fuck this shit. And it was such an effort to actually get the reel because uh, like for the fly reel, they weren't sold here. You know, I think it was a Cedros or something like that. After that, and like a Cedros is not a cheap reel on their lineup. You know. Okay, so are you guys seeing the? Are you guys seeing this? This is the second yellowfin. This is actually the biggest of the trip. Um, can you guys confirm if you're seeing it? Cool. Alrighty. So it's choppy, but when we're done with this and we're actually like you know, so here we go. This is you see some birds, okay, and then this is like a far cast. You'll see here, okay, blasted it out there to the birds, and there's nothing. Yeah, and then a second cast will be closer, and this is where I got questioned by the captain. They were like, why do that? How? Oh, there, bang. Oh, so it was the first cast. No, sorry, the first this is the second cast. The first one was actually like a short 2 minute video that I skipped. So this was the closer cast. So the first cast on this was actually quite far, and then um, this was a closer cast, and the captain actually saw, and then he was like, "Hey, he's doing something." So there we go, hooked up with this guy, and again, this is quite a relatively short fight. And then after this, I'm gonna show you guys the video of Faisal catching. So first video was like 6 minutes something. This is 7 minutes something, and then you'll see Faisal's video is like 11. So the kind of pressure that I'm putting on the fish is like significantly greater. My drag setting is spot on. A technique, fighting technique is spot on. Um, so the kind of and I don't touch the spool. Okay, I don't apply pressure or more pressure with my hands. The drag would be set at around 12.5 pounds only. So PE3 would be around 55, 50 pounds. Um, I have about 300 meters on this reel. But you can see there that the fish is actually trying to like go under the boat and see how I control it. Okay, and look at the rod and see that I am not pumping it higher than my shoulder. And you can see how I manage the line going. Like when you're fighting tuna, it's best if you stay in front of the boat. I mean, okay, fine, I can say this because it's a private boat and all that, but if you're in one of these, it's easier. You can also see how the captain was actually watching me and seeing the angle of the line and seeing how um, the boat is positioned, so I always have the advantage. Look at that fucking boat rocking, man. It seems like it's calm, but it's not. So if you have wobbly legs here, holy shit, you'll fall, especially when you're fighting the fish and all that. You guys can see this, right? I want to see. I want you guys to see how the bend is, and like this is light here. See how my elbow is locked in. I'm bending my knee to pump, and these are short pumps. And mind you, this is a super fast gear, extreme gear or XG. Okay, so of all the reels, this is the weakest because it's the fastest, and it's gear that's optimized to get you strikes, not for fighting. Okay, so I'm well, you'll find out in the video when I release the video. You'll find out what I'm talking about here. But I was talking, given instructions, and just talking to the guys. One of the things you'll probably find that when I fight a fish, I'm not one of those guys that actually scream and shout and all this. I'm very calm to a point where I'm actually boring. It's like I'm bored. So I I've been told that, oh my god, you sound so boring, or you, because I'm usually very quiet, and a lot of people wouldn't even know that I'm hooked up, because I don't scream like, oh, fish on, or like, I don't that's not me. So the bend on the, see how I changed the angle. Instead of actually having it on my hip, I changed the angle and put it on my armpit, because he was diving under the boat, and if I actually kept it on my hip, it would actually high stick, and the pressure wouldn't be on the backbone but on the tip. And this happens obviously when it's a bit bigger, and if the captain's not paying attention, because he's a fucking dipshit. Because typically what happens, if the captain is helping and he's paying attention, he would have backed up the boat to give me an angle on the fish. Okay, so there, and you'll see that I'm actually doing short pumps instead of long pumps. When it comes to tuna, the most important thing is for you to actually get its head towards your direction. There, Faisal almost twisted his. Actually, he twisted his shoulder here. So that's the biggest tuna of the trip. There, you can see that it's almost as big as or as long as the hatch door. 7 minutes on PE3. And all of this was on soft plastic, boys. Okay, so the biggest scorer of the trip was actually soft plastic. And you can see it there, the jig head. See? And all it is a 50-gram jig head, soft plastic. See? He's actually telling me there. He was like, the first cast, it was really far, and you were just casting it in front of the boat. How did you know? Because the birds were actually kind of far off. And I was just telling him that, I'm just lucky. But it's not random, and you know. So here we're spiking the brain. You guys don't need to see that. I have to stop this because it's brutal and YouTube might demonetize. Or actually, not show this, because that's how they do it. Now, I'm gonna look for Faisal's video. Is this it? No. Okay. It was the 11-minute one, so that's not it. I'm gonna show the, when I edit the video, I'll show the far cast that I did before. Actually, it turned out with nothing, of course, but um, this is it. All right, hold on. So we were moving here. Okay, so what's the deal with the super arrow spin joy and power arrow and Fliggin surf reels? I can find hardly any info on them online. They have giant shallow spools. Is that for casting performance? Yes. Typically, outside of the US, surf reels are very specialized. So you can find them in Europe and Japan. So basically, what happens is they have very shallow spools, they have tapered spools, and they're designed for long distance casting. um, when you buy these reels, you get two spools, one shallow, one deep ish. And one is designed for braid and one is designed for mono. And yeah, they're for distance casting. Most of them have composite bodies, but the good ones actually have metal bodies, and those are the ones that you should actually be, what do you call this? Kiso fishing, yes, you use them for that as well. But in Europe, they use them for something else. Yes, that is correct. They have. So, but yeah, I mean, I've used them before. Um, it's love hate. You know what I mean? If you get the right rod, right reel, and all that, they're nice, they're fun. But if you buy the ones with the plastic bodies, you feel the flex, and you'll have like, I've caught like really big queenfish on them. You know, casting with bait, uh, slide bait. Fuck, man. Holy shit. Don't. So when you're choosing, if you're buying these, Don't buy the ones with the plastic bodies or composite bodies. They're fucking terrible. Holy shit! But the concept itself, it's pretty good. In that train of thought, it's very similar to how Daiwa, with Team Daiwa in the 90s, early 90s, actually introduced long cast spools. So Daiwa was the first one to do it, guys, by the way. And you will find that the spool for that particular reel is exactly the same as how these guys are doing it now. Okay, so uh, Daiwa, the first one to do it. They were like the OG. What do you call this? OG. Hold on. I'm gonna find the uh, the lure that I was using so that you guys would know. Mm, there we go. So before we actually move, uh, alrighty. Let me go back here. Okay, so share screen. Can you type text into your screen for us to see? Type what exactly? Because I could open like a document and type something. So yeah, but what I will do is I will send you a link via the, what do you call this, the chat, so that you guys can see. If you want to buy this, you can have text overlay. Could be anything from an email address. Yeah, um, not an overlay, but I can open a document. All right, so I'm gonna share the screen so that you guys can see. This is Faisal's fish, his tuna. Uh, there we go. So typically, what happens when we're doing this, it's run and gun. So if you look at the horizon, there's actually some fish that are busting up. So you can see there, right there. So I told Faisal, just position yourself and all that. So we're looking for these things, right? Some of them have fish on them. Some bird, just the fish boiling. Some have birds. In this day, um, dolphins as well. So there we go. Boom. See, he's hooked up. Captain Kershaw, he's not. So Faisal is like so happy here. This was after he asked me if I had an extra of the lures, right? So you can see how he's fighting, and it's kind of different, right? His style is different. Um, but this whole, remember that typically what happens here is that when the fight starts or just before it starts, I try to capture it. So this is about 11 minutes long. Mine was 6 and 7 minutes. Okay, so um, Mayho. For my tackle box, I use Ringstar. And then, yeah, Mayho and Ringstar are actually the competition, but that's it. Okay, so a very good shot here, by the way. I have some angles for Faisal that are actually really nice. And I told him, like, man, this is like, um, what do you call this? Wallpaper worthy, So there you can see how he fights. Again, he lifts the rod not over his shoulder. Very, very important. I think a lot of people get that incorrectly and break rods and shit. The thing with Faisal here is that he has his oldest fishing buddy on board, right? And the guy has not hooked up fish. So midway through this fight, he actually calls him and says, like, reel this up. And even in the video, I actually told him, like, you are your father's son. You're far too kind, you know. So look at his technique here. I actually say in one part here that I'm gonna stop fishing and then I'm gonna have Faisal uh, fish because I want to show the technique and exactly how he's fighting now. You can see Faisal lifting the rod with his hand, with his arm. Sorry, um, but most of the time his what do you call this? His arm is locked up or his elbows locked. Very difficult to do 100% proper with just your knees when you're positioned like that and the boat is rocking all over the place. So he's managing. Did a fine job here. So there we go. Look, no sweat. This is PE3 as well, guys. So like I said, he has versions of my gear with him. So if I didn't have a limit on my spend or sponsorship pressure, okay. So like take for example my rod, the grappler, actually was when I was working with Shimano. So that's why instead of a ripple fisher, I have a grappler. So if I did not have that sort of pressure, that my combo would be exactly that right there. So that's a ripple fisher. I don't know which model exactly, but a ripple fisher 8 foot uh, medium rod. There he goes. There's Kareem, and these boys have been fishing since they were kids. So Kareem is like the long lost student because they typically started. They basically started together when I started teaching Faisal. But you'll see here that he's being guided, you know he's being guided. So as you can see, he's also putting in like good pressure and all that, but I mean, took longer than expected. This is funny, actually. Kareem was actually saying, like, how do you even gain line with this? You guys are seeing this, right? Now, next step for me is cleaning gear. Or actually, I might be, what time is it? 9. So it's 10 o'clock basically. So lunchtime, I'll be preparing food. Imagine how upset you would be if this. I'm not going to be upset. If they learned from me and they're still doing the same thing, I will be upset. But if they didn't learn from me, forget it. I'm not going to be upset over something that I had nothing to do with. This is taking advantage of the gear. I mean, there's techniques like flat winding, you can do that, especially with slow jigging, and that's legit, but you're dealing with very powerful reels and very light line, so that's fine. It's a legit technique, you know. Faisal taking over, trying to teach, what do you call this? Trying to teach um, Kareem how to put more pressure, you know. By the way, look at how he's holding the rod. He's literally just holding the rod. He's not gripping it tight. So that's again, that's something that a lot of people have to realize, that when you're holding the rod, you're just holding it. It's keeping it in place. The more you actually hold and grip the rod, the more tired you'll be. So just let it hang there, put enough pressure just so you hold it and not what do you call this? Uh Grip it like it, you know. Yeah. But man, one of the things I wouldn't do if I was fishing in a long range boat would be to fish with spinning tackle. I don't think I mean, you can. It's just that it's not efficient. It's not the right place for a spinning tackle, I believe. It doesn't mix well with the rails, especially the long rods, man. That'd be a nightmare. Well, I could understand why you're using the kind of tackle you use in long range. That's why also I don't believe slow jigging works there. But look at the sunset, guys. All right, Mike. Lunch isn't like I have 2 hours, so I have two fish to clean, and it wouldn't be that difficult, I believe. So that's fine. Yeah, it's nice. I mean, I actually couldn't believe that this was yesterday. But man, seeing these boys, okay, they were like up to my hip when I first met them. They're like toddlers, essentially, like freaking 6 years old. These two, when I well, maybe Kareem was actually younger, but these two guys were actually very young when I met them. And look at them, they're like all grown up. Holy crap! Like seriously, especially if I saw he's grown up to be such a fine young man. Very proud of this guy. Lumpia. Ah, weird. Tiger sauce. I don't even know what that is. So there, we're laughing because he's having a hard time and he needs a rod belt. And I actually said, like, uh, only virgins wear rod belts. Kareem, actually, guys, he was a model when he was a kid. He was all over the posters in the malls and stuff like that. He was image model for a lot of brands when he was a kid. So yeah, I forget what we were talking about. Actually, I was, yeah, this is the part where I was telling him that you're your father's son, and he was like, "What do you mean?" Because his dad, like he's like a brother to me. His dad is my fishing buddy, right? Faisal's dad. Um, a very very kind man. Holy crap, man! Like seriously kind. You wouldn't think that this guy is like loaded. He doesn't act like a typical billionaire. But very very kind. But yeah, and look at how much the boat is rocking. It was quite rough. It was quite rough. After this, I'm gonna change my shirt and actually, what do you call this? Start cleaning the fish. When you're reeling in swordfish and yellowfin tuna, you require a belt and a support. Oh yeah, definitely. But I mean, we're not talking of giant tuna here. You know, these are yellowfin, but they're small. It's like probably like what, 50 pounds at the very most, if at all, right? And it's also light line, so you're dealing with very light drag, or not very light but lighter drag. So huh, what the heck was that? Oh, there, sorry. So got turned off. So there we go. So that's the continuation. Repping the brand right there. Like I didn't catch anything but Studio Ocean Mark, but I showed like the reel and the spool. I actually should get a handle for my reels, or at least a 6,000 spool, right? So I'm gonna ask them to send me some. The difference with like the 6,000 spool wouldn't do much, but what it has is a radiator, so it will keep the drag more consistent, the drag curve. My other dog Strider is actually knocking on the door. Let me open it. Yes, all right. Wait, I thought it was your mom that was knocking on the door. It was you, huh? You wanna hang out with daddy? Yo. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go to your spot. So Strider's back. All right, first dog. Okay. This is Strider. Strider. There we go. She's 6 years old, I think. Cute. Um, I don't sell gear. That's a thing. I'm gonna have to unload some later on, though. There's a lot of stuff that I don't use, so I'm probably just gonna get rid of them. There's some stuff that I need to actually like switch. Like take for example, my Z Japan is outdated, so I'm on the fence actually because this one doesn't have the suspension system, and the new one has the suspension system. I kind of don't like the suspension system because it diminishes the sensitivity. But we'll see. I mean, I'm saying this, but if they don't give me a choice and actually tell me to use it, I'm gonna have to do it. So, end game right there. Gave the camera to Kareem so I could actually the fish. The second best thing to fighting fish is gaffing fish. Uh, Mike, it's not like that, Mike. Sponsors won't get pissed. Typically, like take for example for when it's a change of model, it should be fine, I guess. Some do it, some do it. You know, I just don't. Boom! There we go. As you can see, like look at my gaff shot where it is compared to Shamila's. Mine is actually like accurately just at the nape, and that's where you want it because guess what? When you cut the fish, this bit right here, you don't really kind of use it, right? So you see that? So mine, boom. I always hit them there. Like all the fish that I gaffed, it's always like that. So you can see the big one there, that's mine. And then the one that I took home actually is the smallest of the lot. And they're telling me like, hey, spike the brain. And I was like, okay, they'll spike the brain and all that. But they're saying like, oh, do you have to use the Ikejime spiker? I was like, fuck that shit. I've been doing this since I was a kid. Like here, and I did it with a knife, and then boom, and they were like, oh, and then I told Faisal like, trust the man, dude. So as you can see there, one strike, he's toast. It's all right. I mean, it's not, the biggest one was actually the one that I caught in the video that was before this. But yeah, I mean, that's that. And then after that, I just talk about, you know, I just talk about the trip and all this and that. But typically, that was the whole trip in a nutshell. So you guys got a preview, So that's the first part of the whole thing, and the second part would be me cleaning the fish. I'm probably gonna take just. I mean, guys, it's cleaning tuna. There's like a shitload of other videos that do it better, and it's fucking messy, right? So kind of don't really like showing blood and gore and all that. Um, what I will do is I will show you guys the cooking part. Okay, so what we will do is once everything's done, I'm gonna be Mike. Yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Good night. But typically, this particular recipe that I'm using, that I'm gonna be doing and showing you guys is pokeball. Okay, so um, I do mine a bit differently. Okay, and a lot of the people that actually have tried it love it. Alrighty. So I'm gonna be sharing that with you guys, and you can try it. It's very easy. Very easy to, what do you call this? And that's pretty much what we're gonna have for lunch. I think I'm going to also make steaks. Again, something that I can share with you guys. Very simple. Um, what do you call the simple way of cooking it? So I'm gonna take footage for you guys as well, and that's gonna be the whole video. So me cooking and sashimi, everything. uh Sashimi is boring, man. Yeah, but yeah, if my wife asks for sashimi, I'll make some sashimi, but it's either poke or sashimi, right? So I mean, when I told her last night, she was like, oh yeah, I'd like that. So also what she likes is like smoked tuna. So um everything that I'm gonna do with this dorado and tuna, I'm gonna share with you guys, because you guys seem to kind of like these weird things. Freaking weirdos. But yeah, we'll do it. Alrighty. So I'm gonna end the stream. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining. And as promised, I just wanted to share the footage and go through. At least you kind of know how it went. The what do you call this? The fishing trip and all. Um, yeah. Alrighty. So that's it for now, guys. All right. I'm gonna have to clean this fishing. Like, yeah, I have to make like a video for the fishing lines for the ultralight stuff as well. That's gonna be today, and members see it first. So if you are not, what do you call this? If you are not subscribed yet, and you're watching this, I mean, it's been like almost 3 hours. But yeah, like, share, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. Like my usual videos, are, well, obviously are short and full of information. Usually with Japanese techniques and Japanese gear. So if you like that sort of thing, subscribe. And obviously, if you want to contribute to the growth of the channel, memberships is the way to go. Thank you very much. Uh, Subscribed or joined. So subscribe, you can subscribe. When you join, there's a, what do you call this? A contribution, and you become a member when you join. So there's two choices there. Depends on which level of support you want. Um, there's coffee for kit, I guess. That's it, and that's like a lower cost, and then the TFK supporter, which is a higher cost. Depends on how you, what do you call this? But basically, you're contributing to the channel, and it supports the growth of the channel. Obviously, these are funds that support me and support the channel going forward, so I can make more videos like these, go on trips and all that, so that I can give you more information. Because guys, going on trip is expensive. Like, I spent like what, $30 on just gasoline alone, just going to this trip. Like on gasoline, that's $30. Yeah. So it's not even the fishing cost, then there's food and all that. So I can't go on these trips as much if I don't have like funds to spend. So yeah, I mean, I'm not forcing people. Liking, subscribing, and what do you call this, doing all the free stuff online obviously will also help, and it helps, of course. Subscriber count, viewer count, because we also get revenue from YouTube, but it's not much. So with people support on what do you call this, on memberships, it augments everything. I'll try Michael's what do you call this, suggestion on Patreon as well. We'll see what happens. But it's kind of weird for me to actually go on Patreon and uh, yeah, it's just, I don't know, man. I mean, I have this thing about asking people for payment or whatnot ever since I was forced into this. Actually, some subscribers actually told me like you know turn the memberships on and stuff. So I had to turn it on. Typically, I feel weird with these whole things. But anyway, thank you very much for the support, guys. And that's it. Alrighty, I am going to end this stream at 3 hours and change. We're gonna have to do the second part of the video, which is cleaning and cooking. So video is gonna be catch and cook. Alrighty, guys. Thanks so much. See you in the next one. Class dismissed.